Welcome back to the Hammy Show and our continued series of the fight against suicide. We've got a very special guest sitting alongside me, Ford Sheppard. He actually fought in the fight against suicide, what was 2 weeks ago now. And what an event it was, what an experience for you. So Ford, thank you so much for joining me.
Well, thank you for having me. Very excited to get to talk about this really cool event.
Yeah. So first I want to talk about what the training was like. I mean, it's a, 6-8 week long process of them just getting you in shape.
Yeah. It lasted about 2 months, a little over 2 months. And it's a lot of cardio that I was not ready for. I thought I was in shape because, I work out a little bit, try to, watch my figure a little bit. I was not ready for hitting a bag for that long, the toll it would take on my body. But it was fun. Got to meet some new people, experience some new things, and it was a good time.
Yeah. So one of the cool parts about it is the gyms that put it on. I think this year it was X3 and Kepner. Yeah. And one of the coolest relationships when I fought was building that relationship with your coach. Mm-hmm. And, they're legit coaches. They've got legit fighters that are fighting middleweight, heavyweight, featherweight, whatever, pro-am events, all that kind of stuff. So they're legit. They know what the heck's going on. What was it like getting to work with them and really understanding what it takes to be an actual boxer?
It was really cool. I really enjoyed my coach. He was a funny guy. He liked to keep it light, when we were doing the training stuff. But then once we got in the ring and started sparring, man, it got intense. It got so intense. But he really was like a very technically sound guy. Really broke down all of my movements very well. I think he did all he could to get me prepared. But also made it a friend. I still go to that gym now and see those guys in there. I always say what's up to them. And yeah, I definitely think I've made some new friends in there.
Yeah, that's awesome. So one of the moves that they did this year with the whole event was, when it started, it was just KA versus Sigma Chi, and then it expanded last year to KA and Sigma Chi along with Chi Phi and SA8, and then this year was just wide open. Yeah. And it wasn't just Greek life, although a lot of Greek life people fought in it. But what was it like? You mentioned, getting to know some new guys and stuff like that. What was it like fighting alongside them and, going through the same thing they were every single day?
Yeah, I didn't know any of those guys on my team. It was pretty wide open, whoever could join and do the training and do the fight was in. And so I didn't really know anybody on my team. But you'd be surprised how close you can become with somebody when you're in a ring with them for a couple minutes, yeah, throwing haymakers at each other. So that was fun, but I think the relationships created in that kind of tie into what this whole thing's about, bringing a community together, yeah. To kind of create, a backstop for people to lean on whenever they feel like they're alone or they can't talk about their problems. It's just about building that community.
Yeah. So, going back to when you first signed up, what's going through your head? Why the heck would you get into that ring?
Dude, I can't lie. The first motivation it came from freshman year when it started. And it was a couple hundred people. Yeah. They raised, just north of $10,000. Very small. But I remember seeing that and being like, that's awesome. I want to do it. Yeah. But I never had the courage to get in there, and I was like, it's my senior year. I've got to figure something out. I just want to get out of my system. I just want to do it. Yeah. And so then all the training started, and it kept getting closer and closer, and was hanging over my head, and I was getting so nervous, and I completely lost. I was like, Ford, why are you doing this? You're an idiot. You're not a fighter. You're not a boxer. Why are you doing this? And it didn't hit me until I walked out, which, by the way, greatest adrenaline rush of all time. It's amazing. It didn't hit me until I walked out, got in the ring, and I saw all my friends, all the people I know in other fraternities, not in Greek life, whoever, all standing and cheering and, screaming for me to kick this guy's rear end. That I realized that, that was why people were doing it. And that was why this whole event was put on, was to just bring everybody together, bring notice to a serious issue that's going on campus, and fight against it.
Yeah, that's amazing. I know, like when I fought, like you said, that adrenaline rush is it's like it's tunnel vision. You see the ring, and that's all you see.
I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, what was that walkout experience like?
The walkout was, I think I got bare chest slapped like 15 times, like walking out, because all my friends were in like the little like tunnel where we were coming out.
Yeah.
Did not feel a thing. Literally, I remember walking back to the locker room and I had like 5 stars on my chest from where people were slapping me, and I just did not feel a thing. But then once I got in the ring, all of the training, all of the preparation, gone.
Yeah.
I mean, it's literally gone. So yeah, after that, I just did what I could to survive.
Yeah, I know. I mean, Mike Tyson says it best. You got to play until you get smacked
Until you
in the
get
mouth.
smacked in the face and it's gone.
Yep, exactly. That's how I was. I got in the ring and it was just training out the door.
I mean,
it was just get your hands up in front of your face and land a punch when you can.
Yeah.
But it is a super cool experience and something, I mean, not many times in your life will you get handed the opportunity to box in front of all of your friends. So it is a super cool, special moment. But one of the really cool parts about it is, like you said, having all of those friends there. The event, what they do, how it's put on, everybody's dressed up in tuxes. Mm-hmm. What can you say about the event, how it's been marketed, advertised, all that in recent years?
I think they've done a great job. I think it's improved a lot. Like I said, since my freshman year when it started. The Instagram, all of their promotion on their website, their fundraising website, everything is improved. And I think they've done a great job of reaching out to people, and because even when I started raising money, like personally for my page, I didn't realize how like passionate people were about this issue and how many people like have experienced this issue. Mm-hmm. And so I reached out to people at home, reached out to family, friends. I was shocked at how like open people were to do whatever to help. Whether it was sponsoring or just donating a couple bucks. So many people were passionate about this issue. And I think that, the board, the fundraising committee, everybody involved with the fight, I don't want to say any names because I don't want to forget anybody, but those guys were awesome. They did a great job of putting on this event and did a great job of raising a lot of money.
Yeah, so one of the cool parts that you partake in as a fighter is your personal page and raising money, and you were awarded the belt of raising the most money among all the fighters competing. Yeah. So what is that like? I mean, you get to raise the belt like a true fighter, but it was for a really cool cause and something that you worked your ass off for. That was really meaningful to a lot of people.
Well, I'll tell you this: I didn't know what was happening because I was literally in La La Land after my fight. And Beck Evanston came back there and he told me, he was like, "Hey, dude, like you gotta come out here. Like, are you good?" And I was like, "No, but I'll go out there." And so he like drags me up there, and I get the belt and everything, and I was kind of beat because I was like, "God, dude, I just lost this fight. Like, I feel terrible. I could put in all this training." And then this guy comes up. He was a judge for the event, and he was a suicide survivor.
Wow.
Yeah, he was a suicide survivor, and he comes up and he's got tears in his eyes, and he was like hugging me. I had no idea who he was. He's giving me hugs, and then Beck and David told me, his story, and it was pretty surreal to see how happy he was to be a part of something that was getting rid of the stigma around something he dealt with, and helping prevent people from feeling the way he felt.
That is amazing.
So that felt a lot better than holding up that big old belt. But yeah, it was awesome.
That is a really sweet, cool moment. So one of the things that the Instagram does, part of the advertising campaign, is they get to highlight each fighter that's going to fight, and you get to give a little bit of a testimonial on why you're fighting. So why did you fight and take part in this cause?
Well, like I said, the initial motivation was because it looks awesome and it looks fun. But when the fight is coming, all that kind of leaves. The motivation to just get up there, and your pride kind of kicks in, and you gotta swallow that. You gotta sacrifice it, get in the ring, and you gotta fight for your friends. That was my main motivation, because couldn't imagine any of my best friends not being around anymore because they didn't feel like they could talk to me or anybody else in our fraternity or in our friend group or whatever. Like they couldn't talk about their problems, talk about their issues. So I think it's just about getting in there and fighting for them and getting rid of this stigma, just getting the conversation going.
Yeah, totally. I talked with Carrie Smith, who's the director of student health care or health and outreach or mental health and outreach. Sorry, and she brought up the fact that there is this stigma, especially around young men our age, that we're scared to speak up. So it's a huge respect toward you and toward all the other fighters that fought about ending that stigma and speaking up about it and talking to your friends, just checking in, how are you doing, things like that. So it's a very cool thing that you did, and I know you're proud of it. So one of the cool things also about the fight was after you're raising the belt and you're celebrating with your friends, and we're all in the ring and just talking about it, having a few drinks at this point because you can. You're not training anymore.
Yeah.
But one of the really cool things that I saw was your family there. What was it like to have their support?
It was great to have their support. I've never seen my mother act like that in my entire life. I mean, it was hilarious. She wasn't acting bad or anything, but she was just like super excited. And I could hear that scream that I used to hear when I played high school football. She was always the loudest person in the stand. And but about halfway through like the first round, I didn't hear it anymore, and I was like, oh well, maybe she's gonna be quiet. This time. And so after the fight's over, she comes back, and I mean, she is just in shock. Like there's like tears come from her eyes. She's like, "You are never doing that again." But my dad was jacked.
Yeah.
I mean, so excited about the event. He was actually like trying to give me pointers in the locker room. Like before I went out there, I was like, "Dad, you have no idea what you're talking about."
No idea.
But I had him, my mom, and 2 family friends there, and my little sisters who all came to support. So I was really glad they got to come. But I don't think Mom will let me do that ever again.
Yeah, I was going to ask, will we see Ford Sheppard in the ring ever again?
Probably not. If we could somehow persuade Emily that I won't get hurt, maybe we could do it again. But no, I think I'm one and done.
Yeah,
for sure.
that's how I was. You can look up my record. I'm 0-1, and I'm totally fine with it. Not going to...
0-1.
Yeah, exactly. So... it is just such an amazing event, and afterward, there's an after party, and you get to celebrate with all of your friends and continue to keep the party going throughout the night. But one of the major parts about it is the night before, and that's the weigh-in. The weigh-in, you're standing face to face with the guy you're going against in 24 hours. Yeah. What was that experience like?
Well, that's another, going back to the promotion that all those other guys have done on that board and fundraising committee. The weigh-in's awesome, and it's a great way for them to raise even more money. It's like a percentage night at Paloma. Everybody gets up on the stage. They get weighed. There's an official weigh-in that goes on before that, but they get weighed. Everybody gets to see, what the matchups look like. And yeah, standing in front of my opponent, haven't really seen him, how he moves or how he fights, but I could definitely tell like he was ready just from standing across from him.
Yeah.
But it was really cool to have all my friends there, some of my pledge brothers, all there to support me. Some of the younger guys came, and they had a lot of people show up. So I think that helped them raise a lot more money. But yeah, it was cool.
Yeah,
really
that
cool.
is awesome. I know. At the night of the fight, I think they were at around $250,000 or something like that. Yeah. What can you say about that? I mean, that is just an insurmountable amount of money.
It's crazy.
That is so cool, and you were a part of it. What's that like?
It's like I said, like the first year, barely raised any, and now we're up to this point of 200 plus. And I just got to keep giving credit to those guys on that fundraising committee. They really did a great job of putting everything together, but also the fighters. Myself, everybody on my team, there were a lot of the Sigma guys who put in a lot of work to raise a lot of money. I think everybody worked really hard, had to do a lot of reaching out and a lot of, promotion of, your fighter self, which I kind of hated because I'm not a fighter. But you know, I think everybody did a really good job and worked really hard, and that's why we went over 200.
Yeah, that's amazing. So everybody has a nickname. What was your nickname?
The Frogman.
The Frogman. I love it. I love it. Do you know why that was chosen for you?
It just kind of fit. You know, it was like I wanted to do like an animal or something, and I was just sitting around with a bunch of friends, and they were like, you know, Ford, Frog. That kind of sounds. I'm like, okay, well, sure. I got nothing up to this point. I got to tell them tomorrow. So yeah, that's what we're going with.
Let's go with it. Yeah. What about your walk-up song?
Frogman.
Yeah, love it. Yeah. I love it.
I mean, that kind of goes with the name. But yeah, Frogman, Whiskey Myers.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So when I was fighting, my name was Hollywood. As you can see, this perfect face is on camera now, so it's quite fitting.
It all worked
out. But now I want to wrap up with a few more questions. So what would be a message that you would give to a friend that's struggling with this stigma of suicide and the thoughts that they can't talk to anybody? What would you tell that type of person?
I don't know. I mean, I would say you gotta swallow that pride, and I'll tell you, going to something like this fight proves that people are willing to listen, and you're not alone. You're not the only one dealing with issues. You know, no matter what it is. You just got to say something. And I think events like this prove people are there to listen, and people are there to support you. You just got to put it out there.
That's awesome. And finally, we'll close with this. We'll close with one more question after, because this is Georgia football centric. But next, what would you say to those supporters that came out and were cheering your name?
Thank you so much. I'm so sorry that I got knocked out and had my right eyeball shoot into the back of my brain. But yeah, thank you so much for your support. Thank you for coming out. You guys were awesome, very loud. Definitely, you know, kind of fostered that sense of community, that sense of care, and that sense of love. So you guys were awesome. Thank you for coming out.
There you go. And finally, like I said, this is a Georgia football-centric podcast, so I got to always ask, were you at the Texas game?
Yes.
Amazing, right?
Awesome. Top 5 game of my life, for sure.
Yeah, agreed. It was my favorite regular season win of all time.
Yeah.
And going to Austin was unbelievable. So, looking forward, what are your predictions, expectations, anything like that for this Georgia football team?
Well, I think we proved in that game and in the second half of the Bama game what we're about. Okay?
Yeah.
I've never seen a more prepared front on that defense than what I saw versus Texas. Even the DBs that, you know, really haven't, you know, made any like super miraculous plays all year, stepped up, made some big plays.
Yep.
So I am very, very excited to see how the rest of the season goes, especially the Tennessee game. Really looking forward to that one. But, you know, more importantly, what's coming up, Georgia, Florida, the world's largest cocktail party. Definitely ready for that one.
Yep. So everybody's always ready for that one.
Yeah.
Well, Ford, thank you so much. What a pleasure it was to have you on here. What a pleasure it was to see you fight and see you get to raise that belt. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. This is, once again, the Hammy Show presented by Bulldog Illustrated. I'm your host, Hammy Culpepper, joined by Ford Sheppard, a fighter in the fight against suicide, an immaculate, a perfect, amazing, there's not even words that can describe what this event has. So this concludes the series on the fight against suicide. Tune in to next week's issue of Bulldog Illustrated, where I write a story on Ford, on Kerry Smith, on John Five-Ash, and the fight against suicide. All that they did for the fight, all the money that was raised, and what we can do to continue preventing suicide. So thank you so much, and we will see you next time. Perfect. Let's go.